Hey everybody, this is Peter B, and I want to show you my recent pickups, Japanese cards. I got a few more. There's probably only one more player I want to get, and that's probably it for Japanese cards that I'd be interested in. But let me show you the ones I do have. Now this first card, Bonsai Babe Ruth, is an advertisement card for the book of the same name, Bonsai Babe Ruth. And it's a story about in 1934, after the season, a bunch of major league players went over to Japan on a goodwill tour to introduce themselves to the game and try to make relations to Japanese a little better. And this is a promo card for the book. It just tells a little bit about the book. But the reason I got this is because, well, A, it has Babe Ruth on it, and B, if I can get a good picture, is a Japanese player. Now, I'm going to butcher all these Japanese names. Eli, let me see how I wrote it down. Eli Shimoshiraza, or Sawarmura, and Babe Ruth. So, story about the pitcher, 1934. He was 17 years old, in high school, real good baseball player. And he quit high school to join the all-Japanese team that was to play these Americans that were coming over. And he did very well. And on November 20th, 1934, the 17-year-old Shimamura pitched against Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and other great players, striking out 9 of them. So he did real well. The Americans were all impressed, and they actually tried to sign him and bring him to America, but he didn't. Now, this is the same goodwill tour that Moberg was on, that he did some spying for the U.S., taking photos around Japan. And like I said, this is a story of Iji Shimamura. Well, after doing so well against the Americans, he joined the Japanese Pro League, and he became a star. But in 1938, as Japan was invading China, he was called into duty, and he aided in the campaign over there in China, and he actually got shot in the hand. So he was sent back to Japan. After resting up, he rejoined the Japanese Pro League for a second time. Played a year or so, and the second time he was called back to the military. Unsure where he went or what happened, but he ended up going back third time to the Japanese Pro League. Once again, still a star. And in 1944, he was called up a third time. And he was going to be sent over to the Philippines to fight. And on December 2nd, 1944, on a military transport, Japanese military transport ship on the way to the Philippines, he was sunk by a submarine and perished along with the ship. So what could have been was cut in short by World War II. Still before his prime, and the war caused all those casualties to many of these Japanese players and Americans. But this is more a Japanese story. I'm not sure if he has cards. I think he has cards, but I believe they're very, very expensive. That's why I got this one. Plus, it includes the Babe. Okay, next story. is Horishi Oshita. And once again, if I'm saying that incorrectly, forgive me. This is a blank back card, but it's pretty cool. Someone in Japanese wrote, I have no idea what they wrote, but there it is. This is a 1947 JBR bromide card. Horishi Oshida. He was in 1945. He volunteered to join the Japanese Army, the Special Attack units, which are what we call kamikaze units. He underwent he underwent kamikaze training and was all ready to do his job. But as the U.S. forces were getting closer and closer to mainland Japan, they stopped using the kamikaze weapon and was saving all the planes and men for when the U.S. troops got closer to the mainland. Before he could actually go on his mission, the war ended, so he lucked out. 3 months after the war, he signed a professional baseball contract, and he went on to have a Japanese Hall of Fame career. He won 3 batting titles, 3 home run crowns, and 1 year he was the MVP. So that's Hiroshi Oshita. So he lucked out. Next, I want to tell you the story of Kaikichi Nagamuchi. And this is a 1948 JBR bromide Menko card. Blank back. Drafted into the Japanese Imperial Army in 1939 at age 21, he was aboard the aircraft carrier Shakuwa that took place on the raid of Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. It's unclear if he was an actual pilot or just assigned to the aircraft carrier. He survived the war, and in 1944, still on the Shokia during the Battle of the Philippine Sea, the carrier was sunk, and Nagamuchi was in the water for 2 hours before being rescued, and he suffered burns from the flaming oil in the water. After the war, he played pro baseball from 1946 to 1957 and was a decent player. So this guy survived the whole war from Pearl Harbor to the Philippine Sea. Did get sunk and burnt, but survived, and he went on to have a nice baseball career after. Now, the whole thing that got me interested in these Japanese players and the war is because I came across this article. Let me call it up on my iPad. And this is, if I can show you my iPad, this is Shimichi Ishimura. See, there he is in his pilot's outfit with a airplane in the background, a nice baseball glove. I don't think it's going to stand up, so let me just hold it like that. He was a pitching ace in high school from 1939 to 1940, earning the reputation as a one-man team. In 1940, he joined the Japanese Pro Baseball, and in 1942, posted an unbelievable 1.71 ERA. In 1943, he bettered it with a 1.16 ERA and was becoming one of the best players in the league. So here he is, young kid, very early 20s, pitching phenom. All he did was love baseball. But as Japan was starting to lose the war, he enrolled in the Japanese Navy to become a student pilot. And when he was in the Navy and learned how, oops, it went away. Hold on, there we go. Come on. Once he was in the Navy and learned how to fly, he volunteered to be a kamikaze pilot. Now, once again, this is a young kid, kept his ball and glove with him, and he loved baseball. Before boarding his final flight on May 11th, he played catch with his friend, and this is him playing catch with his friend. He threw the ball 10 times, gave his friend a glove, ball, and a headband with the singular word courage. He then ran to the cockpit and flew off on his one-way mission. So that's just photos taken just before his flight to be a kamikaze. He was shot down on approach just before hitting one of our ships. So, I mean, fortunately for us, he didn't hit the ship. We shot him down, but once again, young kid, loved baseball, forced to volunteer because of his customs into something he knew would end his life, and it did. And I just was touched by this story and why I started collecting these players that did see action and even died in World War II. To my knowledge, there is no baseball card of Shinichi Ishimaru. Just this photo. All right, so I'm going to move to after the war. In 1949, U.S. decided to have another goodwill tour, just like the one in 1934. So this is the first time we did anything like this since World War II. And the San Francisco Seals of the Pacific Coast League was chosen to go over to Japan to once again play a team of Japan All-Stars. Lefty O'Doul, I believe, was the captain or coach, manager or coach of the San Francisco Seals, so he went over there. And this is Archie Vaughan, Hall of Famer. And he retired from the major leagues in 1948 after his Hall of Fame career. But he wanted to play one more year in 1949 close to his home in San Francisco. So he joined the San Francisco Seals for 1 year. When it was decided that the Seals were going to go represent America over in Japan, Archie was going to go. And this 1949 Menko card was printed. And here's the card. Here's Archie Vaughan with his San Francisco Seals hat. And a little caricature of a seal. And this is the back of it. Not in the best condition, but it's an American Hall of Famer. Well, in August, before the season ended, Archie was hurt, and so he decided to hang up his spikes, not to return to baseball ever, including this Goodwill tour. But this card had been printed in the hopes that Archie Vaughan was going to be part of that tour and sold in Japan. So here's a nice American Hall of Famer Japanese card. They also made cards of the regular San Francisco Seal players. And here is another 1949 Menko. And this is catcher Gene Brocker. Never made it to the major leagues, but he did spend a few years with the San Francisco Seals in the Pacific Coast League. And this is the back of it. It says Seals on it, along with a bunch of other stuff. So I don't know much about him, other than the fact that he was an American on the San Francisco Seals in that 1949 Goodwill tour. Shows his catcher's mitt and a nice American flag. Now, the dealer I bought most of those cards from was very nice, and he sent me some free cards. And I have no idea who these players are. I'll have to look them up. They look to be all Menkos. But here is Otusu. And the back of the card. I'll put Archie Vaughan back up in the background. And here is Sugivama. And the back of it. And Anabuki. This one's cool because it's showing a baseball grip. And Ketoka. Must be a catcher. He probably played for the Dragons. And the final one, Nakayama. And once again, I'll have to look up who these players are. Once again, a Dragon. But they were included free in the bunch of cards I did buy from this dealer, which is very nice. Now, the last thing I want to show you is an American card of a Japanese player. I showed you this before, my last pickup video. I got this lovely black Stadium Club card of Ichiro with the common Ichiro pose just before taking his at bat, with the bat pointed out towards the pitcher like a sword fighter. And it just so happens this pitcher must also be Japanese. Ichiro, very future Hall of Famer. And then I got one other Ichiro card. A Topps short print, I believe. Yes. That same position. You see Ichiro's muscles flexing, staring at the pitcher with a bat facing the pitcher like a sword fighter about to duel. So like I said, I have one more Japanese player that has a story that I want to get. And then other than Ichiro or other Japanese American baseball players, I think I'm all set with my Japanese collection. I do have a couple of Sadaharos and other Japanese cards. So I just wanted some of these players that gave their lives to the war, or luckily did not have to give their lives during the war. So hey, a little kind of gruesome topic, but it's all part of baseball history. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, everybody.